in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This is the Jersey Boys Sports Talk presented to you by the Sportscast. It is November 3rd, 2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Apple Podcasts. You can also listen to us on your smart speaker. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. We're also on online digital radio, and you can visit us on thesportscast.net and follow us on Twitter at the Sportscast1, also on Instagram, and check out our app, the Sportscast. You can listen to us there, listen to past podcasts, past shows, and things like that. I am not Victor Orocho. I am Santiago Leon, subbing in for Vic, which he is on assignment tonight. But we got the weekly host that has not missed a show, I believe. Almost perfect attendance, Byron Jones.
Hello, how are we doing today?
Do you have perfect attendance for the show? I think you do.
I think I do.
You haven't missed it.
All over the place.
You're all over the place. You do the show during vacation sometimes.
Yes, I do. I'm retired. I have nothing else better to do.
Who would have thought? And then I heard you're also coaching basketball too.
Oh man, I had to rush over there today because we have practice. I got a reprieve from coaching the 5 and 7-year-olds. They didn't bump me up to 11 and 12 because the 5 and 7. Oh man, it's a little rough, man. They're a little rough, man. Oh.
Do you like coaching basketball?
Yeah, that was my second favorite sport. Growing up. I played in high school. I didn't play in college. Whatever. We used to play whenever. But yeah, I enjoy. I've coached eighth grade basketball before, so I kind of sort of knew what I'm doing.
Would you ever coach football?
Yes, I coached high school football and I coached the college level too.
That's right. Yes. I remember. I remember more your playing days than your coaching days.
I coached. I went back to my high school. I coached at my high school. I coached in Oklahoma, and I coached out in California.
Not bad. Not bad. But basketball is for now, for today.
Yes, the little guys now. 11 and 12-year-olds next week, and I'll be all settled in and I'm good. But the 5 and 7, they're a handful.
Unbelievable. Well, there you go. Coaching is something that I thought about doing, but not now. It feels like it's a lot. It's a handful.
Yeah, because you figure with all, you have the different league, you got the fall league, spring league, summer league. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. And, the best thing about this, because we're only doing it like twice a week. And then, we're going to have the games on Saturday. So they're kind of limited because it's new where I live to, as far as getting these kids involved in stuff around here. So, it's a great organization, Tyree and, all the different guys, that set it up, because this is what I mean. This is brand new. This is brand new what we're doing around here. So, hopefully, things work out. They want to start with the basketball, flag football next, tackle football, football in the fall. They want to keep the kids, busy, and which is kind of important. Me with my military background, law enforcement background, NFL background. I'm kind of sort of I could be a role model, to these kids. So, it works out fine.
Making an impact to the community. That's freaking awesome. And also being host of the Jersey Boys Sports Talk is a lot there as well.
I keep telling that too.
Anyways, let's look at the first loss in a while. The Giants' 4-game winning streak came into a close this past weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. I said the Seahawks. I predicted it. They're going to win. They're hot as fire. Tyler Lockett secured a 33 touchdown catch, Byron, that provided the decisive points in Seattle's 27-13 win over the New York Football Giants. What a loss. But hey, you can't win them all, right?
No, I'm happy. I'm gonna keep saying it. 6-2. Me and Victor, fought. Prior to the season, saying, when we look at the schedule, see where they'd be, and I'm gonna insist. I said they were gonna be 6-2, even though I know I didn't say that for a fact. But I'm gonna keep saying yes. Oh, at the break, they're gonna be 6-2. Yes, so I'm gonna stick with my story.
Should I go back into the archives and check?
You can do whatever you want to go, but I'm still gonna say it. Deny, deflect. I'm still gonna say it.
Now, okay, this Giants team. I like it. Is it the Brian Dabble factor, or is it because everyone's healthy this year?
Everyone's not healthy because if you look at their Ireland, they got a ton of people still, they're out, a couple that are coming back. It is the Brian Dable and the Shane, as the general manager, they came from winning culture. You figure they came from the Buffalo Bills, and Dable's with Alabama. So he's always been around winning programs, and I guess if you bring it into organization and it sort of rubs off on everybody, because they said they've been talking from the top people in the organization to the trainers, to the equipment people, and they want everybody to buy into that program, and so far it's working.
Doug Schoen as well, doing well in the front office as the GM, making some moves, changes, trading Kadarius Toney to the Chiefs, which he might be playing soon.
Good for him. I'm glad he's playing. For some reason, it just didn't work out with the Giants because he was always hurt. His foot. I don't know the guy personally. I don't know if his rap career is more important than his football career, or is he going to use the rap career the football career to jumpstart his rap career? You don't know. And then like one of the last comments that he had on the way out the door that he wasn't hurt. That the Giants sort of, we got some of the works. We're not sure, but he ran his mouth basically, and it also doesn't help when they always tell you with the tattoos, don't get a tattoo. Get a wife or whatever. Get a tattoo of kids. Something you're always going to have. You're always going to have the same kid, but you might not always have the same wife. And this guy got a tattoo of the Giants on his forearm, a big old number 89 on his back with New York, whatever's on there. And now he's number 19. So kind of messed up putting, tattoos, all of himself for stuff that is not in his life anymore at this point.
So you're saying it's a curse if you put a team's tattoo on your body that most likely will lead you to be traded or be cut.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I've never heard anybody. I'm sure it's other people that put tattoos. Whatever teams. The NBA or wherever. I don't know for sure, but I know if it was me personally, I wouldn't. I put my kids on there, or whatever. But as far as putting, my number could always change. My team could always change, or I could just not be playing at all.
You could become an Eagles fan technically.
No.
Daniel Jones was 17 of 31 for 176 yards and was sacked 5 times, Byron. That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. The reason why, I'm going to have an excuse now. The reason why is they were missing 2 linemen. Evan Neal's out, right tackle, and left guard is out, Brenderson. So they had a rookie from North Carolina starting to guard. They had Tyrese Phillips, I think the guy's name, right tackle. He also used to play with Baltimore Ravens. They picked up, up the practice squad or whatever. So he was the other tackle. They didn't play bad, but what happened is that Seattle has a blueprint as far as stopping the Giants. You stop Saquon, you stop Daniel Jones from running the ball. They don't have anybody to throw the ball to. Bellinger's out, the rookie tight end, because they get gouged in the eyes. So he's out, and you stop those 2. Because everybody, they're not going to catch the ball. There was a bunch of them. He hit him right smack between the numbers. And ball just went flowing out on the ground.
Now, that leads me to my next point, which you brought up, receiving. Is the receiving an issue? And should they sign someone like OBJ?
Well, let's see. OBJ, now, I thought about this. OBJ got hurt in February, right, in the Super Bowl. So you figure from that, February, he's not going to be ready to play before, maybe December, maybe at the most, maybe at December. So, why?
By the time Deshaun Watson comes back.
Yeah, same thing. Why? How could you justify, signing him? All the money you have to, you have to pay him. And he's only going to play maybe 4 games, maybe at the most.
4 weeks, yeah.
If that. But if they get the playoffs, which is knock on wood, but they did nothing to address the wide receiver group. The wide receiver group is awful. Richie James, the one that fumbled the 2 balls in the punt returner. They should cut him. He's a practice squad guy, but they're not because they don't have anybody that's any better. But yes, the receiving group is no good, no good.
Yeah. Since Sterling Shepard's injury has been a question mark, Darius Slayton had 66 yards and Tanner Hudson had 58 yards. We have a comment from Twitch from Diggs BTW7. He says, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up to you? We're talking about the Giants and Seahawks recap. Where is Evan Ingram, by the way?
Jacksonville.
Oh, that's right. He got traded, right?
No, free agent. They let him go.
That's right. Why am I thinking about Evan Ingram right now?
We have Daniel Bell, the kid that got gouged in the eyes in the last game. He's a good tight. He's a good blocking tight end. He was coming around as a receiver, and hopefully he comes back sometime this season. But it was with his eyes, so you never know. I think they surgery on his eye socket, and you never know. Double vision or whatever is going on with it. So hopefully, knock on wood, the kid comes back healthy. And if he doesn't, hold him out for next year because he was doing a good job.
Saquon Barkley had 53 yards, so the Seahawks had a good run defense, didn't they?
Yes. Because what I watched is that the line, with the new guys that they put out there, they weren't getting any push. And if you notice, like when watching, playing in Seattle, it's loud. It's loud.
It is a 12 man for sure.
Yeah. Even with even veteran quarterbacks when they go there, they have a hard time. They silent count or hand signals or stuff like that, and they were having a hard time communicating as far as jumping off sides, illegal procedures, running the wrong play. And it happened a lot. That's a tough place to play. The 12th man. There you go.
It is. It's a 12th man. Tell me about Geno Smith, Byron. Is he the real deal, or is it because he has tools like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett?
Let's think about that. Now, if Daniel Jones, we're going to flip it real quick. Daniel Jones had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, he'd be a lot better. But because Geno Smith has a competent two receivers, this slate of tight end is really good. They have a running game. They have a very good offensive line. I think they got 3 of them are rookies with Seattle, and 2 or 3 are rookies. And they're one of them was Cross, one of the kids. The Giants were looking at as far as offensive tackle, and they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, and for some reason, Geno Smith is all of a sudden he's having a rebirth now. After 10 years, being with the Giants, the Jets, and whoever else he was with, taking away what's his name, Eli Manning's consecutive game record because they started him in the place of Manning that day that didn't go over well with a lot of people. But he's comeback player of the year, whatever you want to call it. But he's playing well with with the people that he has.
There is talks of him being in the MVP conversation. Would you agree with that, Byron?
Yeah, I give him comeback player of the year. MVP, that's stretch. That's a bit stretch. They win the Super Bowl.
He'll have to. Yeah, that's too much.
You gotta win the Super Bowl.
Well, the thing is, they picked. Don't they choose the MVP before the Super Bowl?
I think they do.
I think they do. So
they have that MVP. What is that? That ESPN awards thing or whatever they call it.
ESPY, but that's a little bit different though.
No,
I want the real NFL award.
He's not gonna MVP. Nah. That's a stretch. Nah.
But I do agree. At least the most improved player.
Yes, we'll give him a participation trophy. Here you go. Give him a little trophy.
Oh yeah, Geno Smith, really impressive player. Former Giant. Always forget about that. Yes. Maybe he really wanted to beat the Giants this time.
Well, all the guys that that were I think McAdoo was a coach then, and Gettleman, they're all gone. So why would he have a gripe against them? If that's the case, he'd have a gripe with the Jets too, because he played for them and whatever other teams he's been with. So man, give him a little participation trophy and send him on his way. Here you go.
And can you believe the Seahawks are first place in the NFC West?
Yeah, because all the other teams stink.
True. The Rams are not the Super Bowl Rams we know of.
Super Bowl holdover. What do they call it? Hangover. There you go. Super Bowl hangover. They
ain't going to help out. Yeah. And of course, the Niners are starting to creep up now with CMC. Christian McCaffrey in the lineup.
Yeah, they still have Garoppolo. He's still going to make that throw that he shouldn't throw, or get sacked, but he shouldn't get sacked or something. But besides having the weapons, they got plenty of them. They have plenty of weapons in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's what Ray Sherrod from Sports Talk 101 was saying last week, that Garoppolo should take the sack than just throwing the ball for interception or something. So
he's a 30-year-old quarterback. He's been around at least 10 years now, and he hasn't figured out just not to chuck it. The guy's coming, let me throw it. He hasn't figured that one out. He'll do it at the most inopportune time. He'll do it playoffs, Super Bowl, wherever, but he'll do it
wherever it's necessary. All right, this past week was the NFL trade deadline. It was more than usual. Usually there's not much going on, not much chatter, but a lot happened. Let's start with the first one. Lions deal Pro Bowl tight end TJ Hawkinson, who they drafted a few years ago, to rival Minnesota Vikings, who's first place in the NFC North. Your thoughts on that, Byron?
Why would you trade first inside your own, division? Why would you trade, a guy that you're probably going to be facing for the next, 5 years or 6 years? He's a good tight end. He is a really good tight end. And because they took the other tight end, Irv Smith Jr., and put him on, I think he put him on the IR. But, the tight end they picked up, he's really good. He's definitely going to help them a lot. He's definitely going to make them a lot better.
Yeah, that's something that we'll see how it does. But good for Hawkinson. I was reading and hearing on the radio that Hawkinson wasn't jiving or gelling with the Lions organization, and of course with Dan Campbell. And I think Dan Campbell made some comments today that he just didn't mind trading him off. It was probably best suited for the team. So good for him. The Vikings are doing pretty good. I mean, they have good, players on paper.
They have a good set of receivers. Now they got a good tight end. They got a good running back. But they do have, I'm going to throw some gasoline on the fire. They still have Kirk Cousins, though. The king of 1 year, 40 million. 1 year, 45 million. 1 year, 80 million. So he's the king. He's made probably about $240, $250 million a career. Not bad for a second string guy, originally with Washington.
Not bad deal. Another trade, Bears acquired Chase Claypool from the Steelers for a second rounder. Your thoughts on that?
I wanted him to end up with the Giants, but he's another weapon for the quarterback up that field. He's a big receiver, like 6'4", 6'5", or whatever he is, and he's not bad. He's not a bad receiver at all, but Mr. Fields up in Chicago, they're slowly building something around the kid, because they got a ton of money, next year, cap space, and they got the draft picks. So Chicago's going to get better, but that was a good pickup, even though I wish we had picked them up instead.
Is Justin Fields coming into fruition lately?
Because they're using him, the way they should use him. He can run the ball. He's like, I ain't gonna say he's like him, but the kid at Buffalo Bills. They put a design runs. If you can run the ball, run the ball. And he's getting the weapons around him where he'd be able to throw the ball. But they're playing to his strengths, and one of them is running the football.
From last week's conversation, is he the best Ohio State quarterback in recent years?
Let's think about this. Yeah. Yeah, that was quick. That was easy.
Yeah, they don't produce many good quarterbacks.
Well, we'll never know what Haskins, rest in peace. We never know with him, with Pittsburgh, because they might have never drafted, quarterback, if this kid was around, and it's just so sad, with him. But he could have been, one of the ones that did do well. But for the most part, I can't think of not one that succeeded.
Would you consider Joe Burrow a Buckeye?
No, he left and he went to LSU, and that's where he got the Heisman Trophy, national championship, and all the things he did, on his career with LSU.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, sorry, Alan. Another big one, which I loved, maybe my favorite trade deal. Miami Dolphins acquire Broncos Bradley Chubb for a first-round pick, and also Chase Edmonds. And also Chubb had a huge contract extension today as well. Yeah,
he got paid, but is he going to stay healthy? Because he was hurt a lot, with Denver, and if he's not hurt, he's that different maker like Von Miller. He's close, not Von Miller close, but he's close. That where Miami's going to make a run. Because they need that with chasing after Josh Allen with Buffalo, and the Jets was Zach Martin, and what's his name, Mac Jones with, or he ain't running anywhere with New England, and he's a closer. Bradley Chubb is going to be their closer like Von Miller, hopefully, but he did get paid. But was 100 some million or whatever it was,
$110 million through the 2027 season.
Ooh, that must be nice. That's a lot of money, boy. Ooh, that's a big piggy bank.
I'm sure he's okay after retirement. But this Miami Dolphin team has been aggressive, Byron. How far can they go? I mean, I don't think they can win the AFC East, but for sure they're playoff contenders.
They're going to scare everybody because the loaded receiver. You got Mr. Fragile, at quarterback. Hopefully, he doesn't get hurt. I don't want nothing bad to happen to the kid. They can have a good defense, and they can go as far as they need. As long as they don't have to go to Buffalo, everything's going to go through Buffalo or Kansas City. As long as they don't have to, go to one of those cold weather places, to play. They should be fine because I think Tyreek Hill is on pace for what 2,000 yards as a receiver. He's a real deal.
He is the cheetah, by the way.
Yes, and he proves that every week.
Top, I would say you mentioned some two big teams there. Is the Eagles in that top three conversation in the NFL right now?
Yes. Number 2 behind Buffalo.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. It feels like Chiefs and Bills are kind of. You can flip the coin with those two. Those goes. They can pretty much rotate between 1 and 2, for the AFC at least.
I think. It all depends on where they're going to play. If Buffalo's cold place to play in January, February, it's cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be snow on the ground. But then you go to Kansas City, it's the same thing. So it really doesn't matter. Where either one of them going to play. But if I put my money on it, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to ride with them because they did go out and get Von Miller, as the closer to chase around Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to go with Buffalo if it's at Buffalo. I'm going to go with Buffalo even if it's in Kansas City.
Breaking news: the Texans have scored their touchdown on their opening possession against the undefeated Eagles.
What?
7-0.
Shocker.
If you don't know that. Yeah, pretty shocked. Texans are considered the worst team in the NFL. Undisputed worst team in the NFL. So against the best team or the top 3 best teams in the NFL, the Eagles. So we'll see.
I got to show a little love for Houston, though, because Lovie Smith was my position coach in college. So, I always got love for, Miss Lovie Smith, my position coach.
Do you love him with the beard or without the beard?
I am without the beard. He looks like the old grandfather of the guy. Now I was like, nah, that's not a good look, man.
Yeah. He seems like a cool guy to hang out with. Feels like.
Oh, he's really real soft spoken. Really quiet. He can get on you. But the way he got on you, it makes you seem like, man, I really don't want to disappoint this guy. So he was just, he was a good dude. Maybe we also had Nolan Richardson was there. He was the basketball coach at Tulsa too. When I was
Interesting.
There.
Multiple. 49ers send veteran Jeff Wilson Jr. to the Dolphins for a draft pick. Not much there. They got Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, they got him. And the other guy. They have a bunch of good running backs. They have good backs at San Francisco. So, that's just like, another back just in case McCaffrey goes down again because he does get hurt a lot too.
Dolphins got Raheem Mostert, another Niner, last summer. So they nicknamed him Raheem Must Start. So, anyways, another unusual deal that I thought of the week was Falcons traded suspended wide receiver Calvin Ridley to the Jaguars. Your thoughts on that?
Why?
Yeah.
Why, that was maybe just didn't want him to be around anymore, or, just get something for him, because what he did was bad, allegedly.
He just
And,
gambled on one game, right, or something.
yeah, it was something stupid.
Yeah,
And
it was like unforced. I don't know. It was really stupid. You're right.
just you know, they tell you, in training camp, they have all these different people come in, like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And they tell you what to do and what not to do. They tell you where not to, they have people that know where, to go and where not to go. And it's just weird that, that you would get caught up in something like that. And then, them basically, turn around and, give them up and like, well, all right, well, if he does this, the draft pick moves to this, he does this and moves to this. So they're just judging, he's going to do the right thing in the future. I hope he, another Alabama guy, guy, hope he straightens his life up. He's fine in the future.
Yeah. I know his value is going lower by the week. He's not playing at all this season. So I guess the Falcons wants to get something out of him and see what they can do, which their only receiver is Kyle Pitts, right?
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
He's like they say he's a tight end, but with a wide receiver body or something.
Yeah, he's a big wide receiver. He's big, got long arms, could run. So yeah, he's a little bit more than a wide receiver. He's like something different.
Interesting. Another one, Steelers deal for Commanders disgruntled cornerback William Jackson.
Pittsburgh needs all the help they can get. They got torched last week, and they need a lot of help. Hopefully this is short their defense. I think T.J. Watts should be coming back, or whatever his name is. He should be coming back soon, because they need help. And Kenny Pickett, New Jersey Ocean Township guy, should stop throwing all those interceptions and chucking the ball up in the air. They need to start leaning on the run with Najee Harris. The offensive line is like, not up to standard. And hopefully Tomlin doesn't have his first losing season ever, but it's not looking good for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin has turned, these bad starts into 8-8 seasons, or at least a 500. Do you think he'll, end kind of like a light good note, I guess?
No. Flat out, no, because Pickett needs to stop throwing interceptions. They need to start running the ball, like where Pittsburgh is known to do, run the ball and play good defense, and not making the mistakes to give up the big play. But right now, it's not looking good.
Not looking good. We'll see what happens with these Steelers. Bills, they add to potent offense, acquire pass catching running back Nyheim Hines from the Colts. Not a bad pickup for them.
Nah, just another cookie in the cookie jar. They're building up, for that run, but they're still kind of they still don't have like the back, that guy, that they can continually give the ball to, to eat up clock. And all you're doing now is putting that 6'5", 240-pound, quarterback. He's basically, the running game. And you can't keep having your franchise quarterback pounding a rock, the way he does. He does. I think they got like Singletary is one of the backs, and I forgot the other kid's name. And then they just got, but he's basically a receiver or a punt returner. The kid they just picked up from the Colts. But they can't have their franchise quarterback running the ball. He can do it, but it's going to be that one time. That's all it takes is one, for him to get broken half, and they're going to be screwed for that year. But we'll see about that.
The Bills are gearing up, packing up for that championship run. The New York Giants did not have any trade deals, but they have been talking about extensions for a few players. One notably is Saquon Barkley, and the other one is Daniel Jones. Schoen said on Tuesday's trade deadline that he's open to extending one or both players, but would want to get it done while Big Blue is on its bye week, which they have a bye week this weekend, and then they play the Texans the other week, and a week or two next week. So he said, we'll have those meetings this week. He said, we'll talk about it if we want to. We had to get through the trade deadline today and those conversations. Then we'll kind of circle up with some strategy meetings as we move forward on contract extensions and if we may or may not do anybody. If I did, this would be the week. I would want to entertain it during the bye week, and then I probably won't do anything after that. I don't want anything to be a distraction to the players or the organization, which is true. So if we do something, it will be probably be before Monday with any of our guys. I'm not saying him, but when we have those conversations, and of course it's either Jones or Barkley, who should get it, Byron?
Ooh, that's hard. Barkley, you really don't want to give him a ton of money because of his injury history. The last time somebody gave a running back a ton of money, it really hasn't worked, which is Dallas Cowboys. It's worked out, but Gurley was another example that sort of flamed up after he got all that money. So you got to think about that. Then you have with Daniel Jones. Do you want to franchise him and pay him $40 million a year? No. You want to do something, I'm not a GM or whatever, but you want to do something that's team friendly, maybe, a 3-year deal, for 50 million, 30 of it guaranteed or something like that, with him. And you probably want to franchise, Barkley because, that number is not that high, as far as we're running back. I think it's like 12 or something like that. But you would franchise him and probably sign, Daniel to something, but
you say Daniel Jones.
Yep.
There you have it. Wow. It's tough to sign him. It really is. But if there's no running quarterback in the next upcoming drafts, I guess you just got to stick with him. But it's still early, right? We still got to see what is going to happen in the next upcoming weeks. I was going to say months, but weeks. Another one is safety Julian Love. His representatives have had conversations about a contract extension. Love is a 2019 4th-round pick from Notre Dame. He's a captain, an indispensable player in Wink Martindale's defense, and a pending unrestricted free agent. The safety is in the final year of a 4-year, $3.2 million contract. GM Joe Shane said on Tuesday that he wants to get in any season extensions done this week. Should Love be? Should his contract be extended?
Pay him. That's all I got to say about it. Pay him.
You sound more confident than Barkley and Jones.
Yeah, because this guy, he's been on the field, he's been playing. Corner, he can play. Slot corner. He's been a safety, free safety. He's got multiple positions he's playing in this defense, and he's available every week, not like the other two. And I would pay this kid. Pay him before he gets out there in the market. I'm sure somebody else will pick him up.
Very talented player, as Byron said. Another player is, you mentioned another one, Lawrence.
Yep. Got to pay. Come on, all big guys. You got to pay the big guy. All got to pay us so we can go White Castle and and hamburgers and pizza and all this other stuff. You got to pay this guy. He's been playing at a high level for the last couple of years, and you got to pay big Dex. I think he's got 4 or 5 sacks this year. From the nose position. That's kind of rare. He's finally fulfilling that potential he had coming out of Clemson. Pay him pay the big dude.
For those White Castles, they're pretty expensive sometimes.
Well, White Castle, up here they're like $1.20.
I know. Have you ever been to a Crystal Burger?
A what?
Crystal? I guess not. Crystal Burgers?
Maybe not. We got White Castle up here.
Yeah, I think there might be a White Castle in Orlando. I can't confirm, but they're not down here in Miami at least. So
they're a little rough. I would get them coming back from a football game. If I would see my nephew, but my little cousins play, I would go see it. And on the way home, there's a White Castle on Route 1, and I would stop in there and get me some double cheeseburgers and onion rings and fries. And my stomach be killing me before I even get home.
Oh man, I would drink that with a cherry Coke.
I do.
Oh, no coincidence.
Yeah, there you go.
We have same taste, I guess.
They got the little machine with you push the button. Got all the different sodas. Some Fanta. They get some Fanta. There you go.
Fanta. Wow, yeah. I love Fanta. All right. Well, that is the only extensions that Joe Shane has talked about. Do you think which one of these four will probably happen, or none?
I think Julian Love would happen first because Dexter Lawrence was a first round pick. All the other, first round pick. Thomas, well, Andrew Thomas, they're talking about him too. That was a late one that came out, the opposite tackle. And all them guys, their first round pick, got to wait, because they're going to be a lot higher. But Julian Love, I would pay him first.
Yeah. A lot of these decisions, a lot of these contract extensions happen right during the season. Could that be a distraction?
No, not really. You're going to go by your, you figure your agent is paying and everything. He's going to go, all right, this is what they offer. Yes or no? All right, we think, that's it. If you're a pro, be a pro.
Be a pro, exactly. And a lot of these, some of these players don't have agents like Lamar Jackson. So
yeah,
and I think Chubb too.
Yeah, that's not. That's not.
I don't know. You got to do it with an agent. Like, there's just more focus at it. That, they know the writing in the contract. They just let them do the heavy lifting on the reading.
They're all standard conduct. If you ever see that, they all look the same. It's just you should just replace numbers in it. That's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all standard contract. All of them look exactly the same. Whatever, 400,000 a year for this, 350, bonus on here, and anybody could just about walk in and do it. If you know what you're worth, you can do it your own. And why pay a guy, 5% or 6%, whatever, to basically, read the same thing that you can turn around and read yourself?
Unless you get the Kyler Murray one that includes a study hall one.
Yeah, we see how that working out there. It's like, man.
But they removed it after it was news.
Yeah, I wonder why. I would have had it removed too. Sit there, you're going to embarrass me in front of the whole world. I need a study time of my contract. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Anyways, we'll see what happens next week with Doug Chain. Great GM. So we'll see what happens. Undefeated Philadelphia Eagles remain undefeated. Yeah. They beat the Steelers 35-13, Byron. Steelers, they were double teaming A.J. Brown, which he had 156 yards. 8-0. Yeah. Yes, we talked about this before already in the show, but are they the real deal?
I can't say it because I'm a Giant fan, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Yeah, yes, they are. They're loaded. And I've said this before. Offensive line, top 5 offensive line, running backs. Jalen Hurts is coming into his own. They probably have the best group of receivers in all of the NFL. They got a Heisman Trophy winner, the number 2 guy, Devontae Smith. On the defensive side, great defensive line. They got, they picked up Robert Quinn, from Chicago Bears at a trade. Linebackers are good. The secondary, so they're the real deal in the NFC.
Eagles just tied the game against Eagles on Thursday Night Football against the Texans. But I remember the conversations on the show that you said the Eagles look great on paper, but the X factor was Jalen Hurts. Has he proven you that he is the real deal?
I think with him, every year that he's played from Alabama, he's gotten better every year. Alabama, Oklahoma, comes to NFL, first year starter. He's improved every year. Just look at it. I'm not just saying it because I like him as a player, but he's improved every year. And now since he has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Rager, the tight end, the running backs, he can't. There's no way he possibly could screw this up. He should not screw this up because it's impossible what he has.
The question is, how would it look like when they play the Chiefs?
Where are they playing them at?
Let's say Philadelphia.
They beat him in Philly.
I think so. But if they go to Kansas City or Buffalo, it's a whole different story.
Completely different story. Because Buffalo has a good defense. They're really good. I think they're the number 1 ranked defense. And they can match up with what the Eagles have, as far as wide receiver group, as far as the cornerbacks and linebackers and line, and putting pressure, on Jalen, not having him running all over the place. But yeah, the game, Super Bowl Buffalo, Philadelphia, I'm going to Buffalo.
Coach of the year, Nick Sirianni.
Nah, Brian Dable.
There you go. Hey, fair enough. I think he's definitely in that conversation. So that's not foreign. So the next upcoming games for the Eagles tonight, they have the Texans. They're tied at a touchdown apiece. Then they get the Commanders, winnable. The Colts at the Colts, winnable. Packers, now I can say that's winnable. Titans, that might be the toughest game.
Yes.
And I know AJ Brown.
They're still kind of, Ryan Tannehill's like, he's okay, but the only thing that you really got to worry about is Derrick Henry running the ball.
That's it. Which he's now dealing with some injury lingerings again. So, then they go to the Giants. I cannot say that's winnable. I cannot.
We always split. I'm going to go with a split. We're going to beat them at home. And they're going to, because I think we played them the end of the year too.
January 8th, correct?
Yeah, it should be cold. And it's going to be a split. Somehow we're going to split.
And then after the Giants, they play the Chicago Bears. That could be closer than you think.
Yeah, that's going to be winnable.
And the Cowboys, which I do think they're the second best team in the NFC East.
Yes, they are. And their defense, because I've been watching Micah Parsons. He's like he's hurt. For some reason, he doesn't look explosive like all the time. Because usually he's chasing people, and it looks like he's doing it like in spurts. And then when he comes to the sideline, he's sitting on the sideline, he's like leaning back, like he has like a groin problem or whatever. But he has something that's going on, with him. But he's how you want to put it? He's Micah Parsons.
Yeah, Cowboys definitely is defense. Michael Parsons, main player. Then they got the Saints. That's winnable. And then the Giants, as we talked about, that might be a tough game for the Giants if it's in Philly.
I'm going to split. I'm going to go with the split.
There you go. Split. Keep it simple. So they won't have a undefeated season.
No, the Giants are going to, knock them off, or Titans. One of the teams is going to get to them. Maybe Dallas. They're going to lose to somebody, but it's just you got to catch them on that day because they're good. They're really good, from top to bottom.
This is the gear for the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll see what happens with the Phillies tonight, which we'll predict towards the end of the show. Washington Commanders for sale? Yes. There was an report from ESPN that Dan and Tanya Snyder, owners of the Washington Commanders, announced that they've hired Bank of America Securities to explore potential transactions involving the team. So this is an indicator they plan to sell, even though they said they don't want to sell. And when they said they didn't want to change the team's name, they did. But this is a likely scenario. Your thoughts, Byron?
Maybe it has something to do. They want to sell with that little money flim flam thing. They have an ongoing investigation into some kind of illegal money thing that they were doing allegedly or whatever. But,
yeah, which paying their staff or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're it's about time for him. He's a billionaire. So why do you really need a football team as a toy? That the Washington Commanders, before he got there, they were very successful. They won Super Bowls, and they were always in the mix with the NFC East. And ever since this guy's been there, man, they just it's like it's a mess.
Aaron Bernstein from Sports Talk 101 says it's about time they put them up for sale. There's Helen because they don't have a choice since they're under investigation. They don't have a choice, don't they?
They can choice, because you figure, once you sell the team, you have a lot of money. If you go to jail, a lot of money for commissary. That billionaire, in jail is like, he got a lot of good commissary stuff, potato chips and stuff like that.
Yeah. The rumors of potential buyers, I been hearing Jeff Bezos. You've been saying Byron Allen.
Yes.
Why is that?
He's I don't know if you have to look him up. He's like he's an African American young man. He was a comedian at first, and he's brought a whole bunch of different media outlets all over the place. And he's like I think he's a billionaire too. But he's been a mix for like quite a few things. And he wouldn't be a bad owner too if they want to go that route.
Byron Allen, folks, is an American businessman, comedian, television producer, philanthropist, and the head of U.S. entertainment company, Entertainment Studios.
Yep.
So Byron picks him. And yes, there is news headline saying that he's preparing to bid for the Commanders. And sometimes these, when you have these team buyouts, sometimes they do it in a group, like what they did with the Broncos. It was just not the Walmart people, but they included racers, Condoleezza Rice, and so on. So this could be the same case for the Commanders.
Anything to get the team out of this guy's hands. There's a point in time where sometimes you just need to cut your losses, and he needs to go, because I don't think they would have got the votes to actually kick him out. I don't think they would have got 28 teams or whatever the number is for to say that he got to sell his team. So maybe somebody behind doors say, hey, we're thinking about this, or maybe you need to sell the team before we just take it from you, whatever they do.
The Broncos were sold for $6 billion, so I'm sure the Commanders might be up there as well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to probably, because I think they wanted a new, I'm sure Aaron knows, but I think they were looking to get a new stadium too, as well, because like where they're at, they're way out in the middle of nowhere, as far as away from Washington D.C. And maybe they want to get a stadium either in Washington D.C., which I don't know where, or at least closer, to actually being a Washington team. But I think they want a new stadium and the whole team. So maybe they can afford to buy and get a team, a stadium as well.
Yeah, that's something that is part of the issue is the stadium. I've been hearing a lot that it could be in the DC area. It could be in Northern Virginia. Not hearing much about Maryland. So we'll see what happens. More NFC East news this past weekend. Zeke Elliott did not play, but Tony Pollard did. Is there a running back situation problem over there? Or, hey, Zeke just needs some rest and he'll be back fine in the future?
Let's see. Zeke needs some rest because this is going to be his last year with the Dallas Cowboys, because that contract is still a little heavy, and now since Pollard has emerged as the guy that are going to let Zeke go at the end of the year, this football season, get another fresh running back, and Tony Pollard's going to be the guy. But I've always liked Zeke. He's always been the hammer, the hammer. Then he breaks one. But that's the way it is. They paid him a ton of money, and they're not getting the same results with it because he's gotten old. He's got a lot of mileage on those legs. So that's a good thing for both of them. Move along, and
average running back span life in the NFL is 4 years.
Not long.
That's not long at all.
Well, how did Frank Gore last like 25 years?
I don't know. He has special needs.
He lasted a long time.
Also, Emmitt Smith, 14 seasons.
Might be more than that. It was a lot. His son plays for Southern Mississippi.
He does.
Watched him over the weekend. Yeah, Frank Gore Jr.
Interesting. Which
if he'd have kept playing, maybe he would have played with his son.
Which that's true. Which makes me think, you said Mississippi, Jackson State. Would Deion Sanders get the Auburn position, head coaching position?
I wouldn't want that job if I was him.
You would?
No, I would not. No.
Why not?
Their boosters will probably be a pain in the butt. And just the fact that he's a Florida State guy, so you have a Florida State guy is coming to Auburn. He's not. I can't even say it the right way. I'm gonna be nice. He's not one of them. The boosters are not gonna like that.
I got it. But he does attract players, though.
Oh, he would attract because the NILs and all the you figure all the big stars that'll show up in the game. But that Auburn is just that's not a good fit for him. That wouldn't be a good.
He should just wait for the FCC job to open up.
Yeah.
Aaron says from Sports Talk 101, which you catch every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Zeke needs to go. That's his final conclusion.
That hurts. That hurts.
I like Tony Pollard, but you're saying Pollard is a different type of running back. He's not.
Yeah, he's like
the average.
You figured it like the last couple of years with him. All right, you had when it was like a 1-2 punch. You had Zeke come in. He starts again. Boom, boom, boom. Straight ahead, like a hammer. Then they soften up the defense. So on Pollard, then the speed with Pollard and Zeke is two different things. Now all of a sudden you got a smaller back, and he's hitting a whole lot faster, than the other guy, and that makes it different. Zeke softens him up, and then Pollard comes in and finishes. But he's not a 20 to 25 carry guy because he's not that big.
Interesting. I like that. Another team that broke their losing streak, Denver Broncos. They did it in London against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 21-17. Wilson had 252 yards, looking good, which he was injured. He was not 100% certain he was going to play this past weekend. And Greg Dulcich, wide receiver for the Broncos, had 87 yards. Is this the turning point for the Broncos and Nathaniel Hackett, Byron Jones?
No. Daniel Hackett, or whatever his coach's name is, he's going to get fired at the end of the year because he's not.
I think so too.
Yeah, he's not. He wasn't hired by this group, this ownership group they have now. Whatever he's, the things he's doing, you can see that, it's like a Green Bay kind of thing. And I guess maybe he did watch films of what, Russell did in Seattle, trying to incorporate that kind of stuff that he did. And he's done. The only thing will save him if they go to the playoffs. He's not.
The biggest letdown that I saw from him that probably made people think about him a little bit more was that answer when he said that he should have gone for it for the field goal that first or second game of the season. I think that did it. I think that was not a good answer. But indecisiveness. Another offensive coordinator not doing well is the Raiders head coach McDaniel.
Yeah,
first team.
I don't know what's wrong with them. They're bad.
Really bad.
They're really bad. I didn't think that would happen with Josh McDaniels, being an offensive guy. I think Devontae Adams had one catch or whatever he had the last game. Paying him a ton of money, to catch the ball, and they're not throwing the ball well. They're not running the ball. They're not blocking. They can't play defense. They're kind of a mess. And hopefully, the owner, the Vegas will give the guy, more than 1 year, but he's not looking good either.
Yeah, coaching decisions, new coaches, give him a try for a season might be enough for them to get axed.
Yeah.
Or give him more time.
Well, look at the other guy that Matt Rule got fired with Carolina. He could sit home and make $1 billion sitting home for months, like for years. $60 million contract.
But no better contract than the Bobby Bonilla contract. Gets paid $1 million every July.
Chris Bosh had one of those too.
He did too.
Yeah.
And I think it ended. I think it ends this year or next year.
But yeah, Bobby Bonilla, that's a good one because he ain't played in decades. He ain't played in decades.
I know. Unbelievable. Anyways, before we end, Michael Thomas is hurt again from the Saints.
Yeah. He got paid. He's another one. Like I said earlier, he's the Albert Hainsworth of contracts. He got paid, and all of a sudden, his toe hurt, his leg hurt, his head hurt, his back hurt, and all these injuries, and hasn't really produced the last 2 or 3 years. So he's done. As a receiver, probably with the Saints, they'll probably get rid of him after this year.
There you have it. Anything else before we head into predictions?
Nah, all good in the hood.
All good. Giants are 6-2. You can't beat that. My Dolphins got Chubb. I can't complain either. I know what's going on right now, but who will win tonight between the Eagles at the Houston Texans?
Sad to say, but I'm going to be a flip flopper. The Texans are going to win tonight.
Davis Mills. Let's
That's
go.
right. Davis Mills, Stanford guy.
And who takes game 5? Astros at Phillies. Last night, Astros had a no-hitter, defeated the Phillies 5-0. Who do you have for game 5 tonight?
Phillies. I got to go with the Phillies because I got too many people around here to be listening.
Phillies gets it 3-2, goes back to Houston for game 6 and 7. Potential game 7. There'll be game 6. But I'm going for the Astros. And but it's interesting. I saw that cheating scandal video on YouTube and how they cheated. They use garbage cans to make noise to tell the hitter to hit or not to hit.
Yep.
Which is how the situation is interesting. So, which I heard that in baseball, there's a lot of cheating more than any other sport I've noticed.
I think one of the guys, they made him change his bat too, like the last couple, like 2 games ago, where it was something with his bat.
It was too thick or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Anyways, Gary Sinise.
Well, since I don't know it by heart, which I should, yes. Everybody give to the Gary Sinise Foundation. Give until your eyes bleed. Give until you don't have any more money into your pocket. The Gary Sinise Foundation.
And there you have it. Victor Rocha is not in tonight, but he'll be back next week. He's on assignment. Byron Jones, your Twitter is Byron C. Jones 1 at Byron C. Jones 1 if you need to connect with him. He doesn't check his Twitter. He may one of these days. He might be lucky. But you can reach us at what was that?
I don't want to pay the $8 to get ready to slap on there. $8 a month thing. Nah.
Yeah, to get the check mark, which it might put us up in the rankings if we do pay. Anyways, you can reach us at the sportscast.net website or the sportscast1 on Twitter and Instagram. Victor Rocho is V Rocho on Twitter, and on Instagram is debt-free Victor 1, but I don't think he uses Instagram much as Byron does.
Yeah, I got like 2.
Anyways, big weekend ahead in the NFL. We're past that midseason already.
Don't forget the big game this weekend, Georgia, Tennessee.
That's right. Who you got for that game?
Georgia.
I think Georgia's going to win it. Tennessee was ranked number 1 in the first college football playoff rankings of the year, and that was pretty bold by the board, I would say. But they've had big wins, like Tyler says. They don't have a great team. They don't have much talent, but they have big wins. They beat LSU and Alabama. Can they do it again against Georgia? If they do beat Georgia this week, Byron, yes, they're number 1.
Yes.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
Georgia's a good team. Anyways, it's always been a pleasure, Byron. Thanks for coming on. No, this is your show. You got to come on.
Yeah. 8 o'clock. So everybody don't forget, Thursday nights, 8 o'clock.
8 p.m. Eastern, only on the Sportscast. I am Santiago Leon, filling in for Victor Arocho, who is on assignment. Byron, till next time, go Giants.